Well, good Saturday morning, South Mississippi. Meteorologist Taylor Graham here, joining you on this very soggy start to our Labor Day weekend. And the rain will likely continue over the next few hours. Hopefully you're watching this from inside, you're dry. And I have to admit, this weather is a perfect excuse to stay lazy this morning, which, hey, it's the kickoff weekend of college football. So even though it was maybe not the best weather to grill out, you know what? You have a pretty good excuse to stay inside and watch football or just enjoy any indoor activity really this morning. So we'll go ahead and take a closer look at the forecast today. I know a lot of people have a long weekend thanks to Labor Day. Today, maybe not the best day to be outside. That's probably obvious. No matter where you are in South Mississippi, chances are you've been seeing some rainfall this morning. Some spots in George County I'll show you staying a little bit drier, but for the most part it has been a wet, soggy start to the day. And our rain chances over the next few hours, at least for about lunchtime into the early afternoon, going to stay pretty high. There's a good chance we're going to see more of this wet weather. Now by the late afternoon and evening, some of the rain begins to taper off. So if you need to get outside to do anything, maybe run some errands, the late afternoon, evening, that's going to be your best bet of maybe not running into as much rainfall. But right now, widespread showers, even some heavy downpours on first alert radar. Haven't seen a ton of lightning, but we've had some rumbles of thunder here or there. Like I said, George County, you're not seeing as much rain compared to the rest of South Mississippi, but that rain will slowly inch farther to the north, it looks like, over the next hour or so. And this is not all bad. We did need some rain around the area, and it certainly looks like we are going to be getting our fair share of that this morning. Now, even some heavier pockets of rain could lead to some flooding today, and we have another flood watch in effect, mainly for Hancock, Harrison, and Jackson counties. That's until 7 o'clock this evening. Those areas along the coast have a higher chance of seeing some heavier downpours and pockets of rain today, and that could lead to some localized flooding. Hopefully we don't have to be dealing with that, and for some of us, our yards are still relatively dry. But over the past 2 days, some areas have picked up a good bit of rainfall, and again, not all bad. We needed some of that rain around here, but according to radar estimates, some spots may have picked up 4 to 5 inches of rainfall over the past couple of days. Now, others of us, like in southeast Jackson County, haven't seen as much rain, but as we've already seen, there's a decent chance you're going to be getting more of that rainfall this morning if you haven't already seen it just yet. In George County, though, really haven't had much rain to speak of, but elsewhere, we've had a decent soaking over the past 48 hours. And taking a wider view on satellite and radar this morning, we can see widespread showers, thunderstorms, not only South Mississippi, but also offshore. And that moisture will continue to stream into the north as we head into the rest of the morning. And a few showers will linger into the afternoon, but it does look like the rain will be tapering off later in the day. This is all caused by kind of a broad area of low pressure right along the Gulf Coast this morning. This area of low pressure is centered more so into parts of the Texas coast, closer to Lake Charles and Louisiana. It's not very organized, and there is a low chance it could become a tropical depression, maybe a tropical storm over the next several days. It really depends on if it's going to be staying just offshore or not. But regardless of its tropical development, it's going to be bringing the same impacts as far as heavy rainfall to parts of the Gulf Coast. And we've already been seeing that this morning in parts of Texas and Louisiana, likely going to be seeing that heavier rainfall as well. There is, again, that chance of seeing some flooding today, but the greater risk of flooding mainly to our south and west, closer to that area of low pressure along the coast of Louisiana and again parts of Texas. But it's not out of the question that some areas today could pick up a very quick 2 to 4 inches of rainfall, and that could lead to localized flooding. That is not a guarantee by any means for everyone here in South Mississippi, but we've got that potential with all of that tropical moisture in place. Just wanted to give everyone a heads up on that. As far as how much rain we could see over the next 4 to 5 days, it really varies on where that heavier rainfall will be setting up exactly. We have that potential for many of us in South Mississippi to pick up an additional 1 to 3 inches. Of course, locally higher amounts can't be ruled out, but overall, over the next 4 to 5 days, an additional 1 to 3 inches is in the forecast at this time, and even heavier rainfall possible to our south and west in parts of Louisiana. While our Labor Day itself is looking drier, it looks like that area of low pressure I've been talking about in the Gulf may meander around a little bit by Tuesday and Wednesday of this upcoming week, giving us another chance for showers and storms. And even tomorrow, we're keeping a chance for a few more of those showers and storms. Of course, we're seeing that rain this morning. By this afternoon, a few showers may linger, but overall, looks like the trend is just a little bit drier by this afternoon. One nice thing about the rain and cloud cover as well is that it's not going to be as hot today. Temperatures mainly in the mid 80s this afternoon, and that's even if we get a little bit more sunshine. It may be a struggle if those clouds stay in place. Overnight tonight, not a ton of rain in the forecast. We may wake up to a few more coastal showers and thunderstorms early Sunday morning, but overall, Sunday doesn't look as wet as what we're seeing today. However, still going to be seeing some of those hit or miss showers and storms. So if you have outdoor plans tomorrow, just keep tabs on the weather. Still going to be dealing with some of that wet weather throughout the day. Labor Day, though, I do think for the most part it's going to be pretty much rain-free. A few isolated showers, but rain chances look a lot lower on Monday. That also means we're going to be seeing more sunshine, and it is going to be hotter for Labor Day itself, with temperatures in the low to mid 90s. But if you want to hit the pool for Labor Day, you may have the day off. I'm sure many of us do. It is going to be fairly dry for any plans that you may have outside. But once we get into Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, another decent chance for showers and storms. And don't be surprised if those rain chances by Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday start to increase as we get more and more confident with the forecast. For now, things are hinting that we may see more rainfall by the middle to end of this upcoming week, which again will be helping us out with some of that those drought conditions here across South Mississippi. But if you have to be outside, Monday is looking to be your best bet to avoid any of that rainfall, because it looks like we're going to be getting back into that rainy pattern by Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of this upcoming week. But again, the good news with more rain in the forecast, it's going to prevent us from being as hot. And I do have temperatures mainly in the upper 80s by the middle to end of the week. So other than the rain, a lot of people talking about what's going on in the tropics, and we are starting to see the possibility for more development in several spots over the next week or so. That's not unusual for this time of the year. We are getting into the peak of hurricane season. We have talked about that little spot, that little area of low pressure along the Gulf Coast. That has a low chance of becoming a depression or storm. Mainly looks to be a rainmaker at this time. Elsewhere in the tropics, we have two other waves that we're watching. One that is way out there in the eastern Atlantic, very low chance of development over the next 7 days. But the wave in the central Atlantic, that's the one that we are going to be monitoring closely over the next week or so, probably even beyond that. We have plenty of time to monitor it as it moves into the Caribbean. Has a pretty decent chance of development over the next week or so, and forecast models are suggesting that it could move into the Gulf of Mexico within the next 10 days. So we get plenty of time to monitor. Hasn't even developed into a well-defined tropical system at this time, but anytime we have several forecast models suggesting something gets into the Gulf, of course, we will closely monitor that for everyone. For the time being, it's fairly disorganized. It's out there in the central Atlantic, way out there over the open water, but it is expected to move into the Caribbean over the next several days. One thing I have noticed is that the wind shear in the Caribbean is very low. That's not necessarily good news. Tropical systems don't like wind shear. When there's a lack of wind shear, they develop a little bit better. So that's one thing I've noticed as far as environmental conditions as it gets into the Caribbean. Forecast models at this time are going to be all over the place because it doesn't have a well-defined center. However, the European model does hint at developing a little bit more in the Caribbean by the middle to end of this upcoming week, and then by next weekend and that following Monday, it could potentially move into the Gulf of Mexico. Really too early to say how developed it's going to get what its exact track is going to be. Again, we have plenty of time to monitor, but this is a good reminder to maybe refresh yourself on your hurricane plan, your supply kit. This may be a good week just to keep tabs on that, just in case we see anything develop into the Caribbean. The GFS model, the American model, shows something similar, shows it getting a little bit more developed in the Caribbean by the end of the week and into the weekend, and then also shows it by the following Monday or so, possibly moving into the Gulf of Mexico. But again, just too early to know its exact track, and take these model runs with a huge grain of salt at this time. Again, they are going to be flip-flopping all over the place because we don't have that well-defined center just yet. But I wanted to show this to show you why you may be seeing some chatter about this online. It is because some models suggest we could see something in the Gulf within the next 10 to even 14 days out. I mean, again, we've got plenty of time to watch this. No need to panic by any means. Just know that we are going to be monitoring this over the next several days. So just to wrap that up, too early really to know its exact track, what it's going to be, how strong it may get. But we are getting into the peak of hurricane season, and we typically expect to see more activity. It could move into the Gulf of Mexico next weekend, even that following Monday or Tuesday. So stay tuned. Of course, we will let you know if anything changes. We will always have the latest updates online and also on air. Just a heads up that we are not going to be having our early evening newscast tonight because of college football, but I will be here this evening, probably doing another update online as we get the latest information. So just to wrap it up, plenty of time to monitor this. This is a good reminder, though, getting into the peak of hurricane season, just to refresh yourself on your hurricane plan and your supply kit. So peak of hurricane season typically right around early mid-September. We are getting close to that, of course. The month of September starts tomorrow, and sometimes we can even have tropical systems in the month of October as well. So always just best to keep tabs on what's going on in the tropics, and we will closely be watching things over the next several days. Now, as for the rest of this morning, you can expect a lot more rainfall. We've already been seeing that. It is a nice day to be inside. I know on my breaks, I'm going to be watching and enjoying some college football. Again, not the best day to maybe grill out, but nice day to be indoors. Tomorrow, chance for some hit or miss showers and storms. Things are looking a little bit drier by Labor Day. It is going to be hotter at that point, but if we get more rainfall by the middle to end of this upcoming week, then temperatures are not going to be as bad, mainly in the mid to upper 80s. And this rainfall, not all bad. We needed some rain around here. Hopefully this makes a decent dent in some of those drought conditions that we've been seeing here in South Mississippi. So with that, we will continue to monitor the tropics. We will let you know if anything changes. Again, plenty of time to monitor things with those two tropical waves way out there in the Atlantic. Of course, we're keeping a closer eye on the one that's going to be moving into the Caribbean. But for now, maybe enjoy the rainy weather. It's a good excuse to be a little bit lazy this morning and to stay inside. I am going to be signing off here. We'll have another update this evening. And again, just a reminder, we are not having an early evening newscast tonight due to college football.